viewers at home, we want to welcome you to another exciting episode of Niger Mouthpiece. And you all know that each episode comes with its uniqueness. Today, we have a special personality that is coming to enlighten us on so many things that is built around immigration in Canada. This edition is supported by Duke Immigration. Duke Immigration is an immigration firm that has its address at 1058 Albion Road, Etobicoke, Ontario, Unit 203. And today we are having the MD CEO of Duke Immigration on set. My name is Phillips Ayodike, also known as Mega. Thank you very much as I welcome to this special edition Mr. Abiodun Alagbon Ojo.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, Mr. Abiodun Alagbon Ojo, it will do our viewers a lot of good if you can give us your bio, because it's always good for us to get to know you before you start telling us things about issues that is got to do with your own field.
All right, thank you, Mr. Philip. Well, as you know, he's mentioned my name already, so you know my name. I'm an engineer. I'm an electrical engineer by study. I study electrical engineering in Nigeria, and in Canada, I studied computer engineering as well, and also I studied immigration consulting, right? So I'm a project manager. I do coding on the side. I also teach IT courses. I train people in DevOps and in cybersecurity. But chiefly, I do immigration consulting for people to come to Canada.
Wow. How long have you been in Canada for? And when you came into Canada, what did you come into Canada and started up being an IT engineer, or you came into Canada and started like every other person started on a cool note?
Thank you for that question.
How long have you been around for?
I've been in Canada since 2015, so that's about
8 years now.
8 years now.
Wow.
8 years going on 9.
Yeah.
And I came in, I went to school, I went back to school. That's why I got my computer engineering.
Okay.
And after that, I did my master's in information technology security. My focus, my major was in artificial intelligence.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Wow.
So right off my college days, I got employed by the school.
Wow.
So I started working with the school as a project manager.
We're going to be talking to you basically today, not on the area of information technology. The more reason why we decided to come to you is because a lot of our people back home want to learn more about immigration. And like I know, I've seen a couple of people you've helped. I've seen a couple of people that you've been able to turn around their status from whatever they came in with to something better here in Canada. So we want you to start by telling us, what are the challenges that comes with the job of immigration consulting?
Challenges as the ignorance of the people, right?
Okay.
Clients come and they want you to snap your fingers and get things done for them. But forgetting that not two cases are the same, right? And here at Duke Immigration, we assess each client uniquely, right? So we look at what you have, and then we can consult with you what is suitable for you to do. But some people have the mindset of, oh, this is what my friend did, and as a result, I should be able to do that, forgetting that there may be some requirement that your friend has that the person do not have, right? Okay. So my challenge is people coming thinking that what goes for A will automatically works for them.
Okay. What would you advise our people, especially when they are dealing with agents? Because for me, I think there are some of these agents that are properly regulated, that are licensed, and some are not even licensed, yet they take advantage of the prospective immigrant.
All right, thank you, Mr. Philip. So, Nigerians, or most people, like I said, they want someone that can wave a magic wand and boom, they're in Canada. They don't want to put in the work, right? You've gone to meet an agent, someone that says portrays himself as an agent. Say, I can get a visa for you. The person does not even look like someone that's even traveled before.
Oh yeah,
right.
Oh, yeah.
And then you entrust that person to handle such important feat for you, right? Forgetting that all the things that the person submits on your behalf is on record, it's on file, right? 10 years down the line, you make another application to Canada, it's there. The GCMS records everything, right? So what I would say to people is that try and use reputable people, people that you can validate their websites online, that you can see that this person has presence, right? This person is regulated. As you know, our profession is regulated.
Yes.
You can't just in Canada, you can't just say you're an agent, right?
Yeah.
If you're caught, you can be prosecuted.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and one thing a regulated agent will not do is do contingency billing. Right? So contingency billing means that, you know what, I would only get paid when the visa is approved, right? A regulated agent is not allowed to do that.
Okay.
But Nigerians like, that kind of, don't worry, pay me a little bit now, and then the person is going to gamble with your life, with your prospect, and say, okay, when it's approved, then you come and pay me X amount of money, right? You should be wary of trusting such person, because it means that the person is just going to gamble with you, whether if it's more like 50-50, right? I would say don't do that. That is not the right channel to go, right? And a lot of immigration applications can be done by applicants, although there are these gray areas that you will need someone that has the knowledge.
Yeah.
You need someone that has the knowledge of the law, of immigration laws of Canada, to interpret something. Right? The person needs to know if a law has been repealed, if the law is current or not. Right? All these agents in Nigeria don't know all these things. Right? They don't. They just know that, oh, this is what I package for someone, and then the visa got approved. I can package it again for another person, hoping that it will get approved. Yeah. But again, cases are different.
Yeah. Talking about packaging, some clients even end up getting packaged. They end up getting the visa, but they don't even know what was packaged for them. And by the time they get to point of entry, you're asking them B, they're answering you C. What would you want to say to such clients?
I would say whoever you are giving your Canadian applications to, make sure you get all of your details, right? And not just getting all their details, make sure you give them the details they're going to use. Make sure that you look at the forms before they submit on your behalf, and most importantly, make sure you sign a user representative form. A user representative form is what allows somebody else to even open your application for you. Right? You're not supposed to give your username and password to any other person, right? Except the person has signed a user representative.
Thank you very much. Now there is story making around that most school prefers to deal with agents, and rather than dealing with students on the areas of college and maybe university admission. Could you please throw a light to that? And going by your experience, do you think that is true?
Okay. Yes, it's true, because some schools have in some courses in some schools, when you apply to them, they will say, okay, we have a licensed person, right, in your country, and then go through this person. So some people have registered as agents that they know exactly what the school wants.
Those ones are like their liaison officers.
Yes, they know what the school wants. So that person will act as a point of contact, middleman between the school. So the person can already tell the prospective applicant oh, this won't fly or this will fly. Not wasting your time, wasting the application fee, applying to the school, and then you get rejected. Right. So I think it's good so that the agent, the proper school agent, looks at your application and say yes, it's fine. And then you have someone that you can talk to that can speak the same language.
That's exactly where I want to go, because it's even you feel more relaxed that you're relating with somebody you can see, right?
You don't even have to see the person. Right? But then you will know that, oh, this is a Nigerian. Looking at the name, you know this is a Nigerian. And then the person will give you much attention than just an admission officer in the school. That if you call the school, another person might pick up the call, looking through your files, trying to understand what's going on, or you meet this criteria or not, after waiting like 2-3 months. But going through that licensed agent, the person can tell you even before you submit, okay, these are the exact things that we need, right?
Yes. What are the common issues that arise during visa applications as it has to do with Canada, like you've encountered as an immigration consultant?
First thing is finances.
Okay.
Canada is big on looking at your finance, right? And one thing they do is they don't like lump sum. Nigerians like, oh, let me just put the money and print the statement. No. That's why they ask you for 4 months bank statement so that they can assess the history of the account. What's the inflow? What's the outflow? How well are you saving money? Are you just putting money there to take out? You save? Can you, even if, let's say you want to go to school, you're only expected to prove the first year of school. If your study plan is more than 1 year, you're only expected to show finance for the first year. But then the officer will be able to deduce from the flow of the 4 months that the person will be able to generate such amount based on some formula to cover subsequent years of school. So that's what they want to see, not just I put money here today and print the account statement tomorrow. Okay,
I've got a case of someone who's given a refusal based on the fact that one of the parents, the father, has an account here in Canada, but he doesn't have an account that is domiciled in Nigeria. So when the application was submitted, on the basis of the fact that there is no funds emanating from Nigeria that reflects on the application, the student was refused. Can you shed light to such situation?
Sometimes, officers treat applications poorly, and that's why we have to put it to them that you shouldn't do that, right? Sometimes they say, oh, you don't have travel history. There's nothing in the immigration law that says if you don't have travel history, then you shouldn't get visa, right? Now, in such case, I would first of all ask for the GCMS note. That's the officer's note. I want to know how the officer arrived at the conclusion. Right? Because if there's fund in Canada and the fund is sufficient, why should the fund emanate from Nigeria? To me, that doesn't make sense. There is no requirement that the fund must be in any country in the world.
So long as it's a fund.
As long as the fund and you have access to it. The main thing is, do you have access to this fund? Right? That people send money to Canada to open a GIC account for the purpose of their school. So would they say, okay, because you have moved your money to Canada, then you don't have money again? It's your money to begin with, right? You work for the money, you earn the money, you save the money. Okay? So that case, if that person were to be my client, I would ask for reconsideration. I would try to tell the officers why that should not be a reason to deny such application.
Thank you, Mr. Abiodun Alagbon Ojo. Like we've said to our clients today, this particular episode is sponsored by Duke Immigration. So please check them out. They are tried and trusted. We're going to be going on a short break. Welcome back, our viewers. We are on Naija Mouthpiece, and like I said, today we have on set Biodun Ojo, a special person to us as a body, and he's been doing pretty well representing Nigeria positively in Canada. And you know what Naija Mouthpiece is all about. We go to people that have been doing positive things, projecting Nigeria in a very positive light here in Canada and all other parts of the world. Again, we'll be going back to him to ask him a few questions that has to do with his days in Canada and as it has to do with immigration in Canada. So when we started off, we talked about how you started, and you said when you came, you got into the school and you had the opportunity of working in the school. Could you tell us, because I know there are a few challenges we all go through. Canada is not, especially for a couple of us that were not born in Canada. What were the challenges you went through getting your feet together when you came into Canada, aside the fact that you had the opportunity of working in the school? How were you able to metamorphose from coming to Nigeria, getting your act together, and getting stuff done in the system?
I would say it's not all been rosy. It wasn't very easy at first.
Okay.
I came into the country. I was a project manager in the United States, and I was expecting to get such role. Maybe, I wasn't doing something right, and I was applying. I wasn't getting jobs, and everybody kept asking about the 1 year Canadian experience. I'm like, so if nobody gives me a job, I will get Canadian experience, right? So I started volunteering and here and there. I started volunteering with organizations. That really helped me, and I decided to go to school, right? So because I love to read, I love learning. I think I have like 5 degrees.
Wow, that's big.
Yeah,
that's big.
I like to study. In my spare time, that's what I do. When I drive home, I listen to podcasts, educational podcasts. So I decided to go to school. I was driving Uber, and I think one day my mom called me and I said I was driving Uber. She didn't understand what Uber was, so I said, "Okay, taxi," and she started crying like, Why would you be driving? Like, what? Is it that bad? And I'm like, no, well, I had to do this to, make ends meet. And the next she was like, okay, why are you doing that? I said, because I wanted to pay my tuition. She was like, okay, no, you know what? Next day, she sent me my tuition. Like, don't do the Uber, please.
Wow.
don't do the Uber, please. I'll send you the money.
Wow.
I'm like, no, you don't have to send the money. She said she insisted. She told my brother sent the money the next day to me to pay my tuition. So that was how I stopped doing Uber. And I started working with the school as a student. I was coaching other students. Yeah,
and you were earning. What you were earning then, was it big enough to handle your bills?
No, that was just minimum wage. I had to cut my clothes according to my size.
So you were, at least with what you were earning, you were able to sort out your bills, right?
Oh yes, I was able to sort my bills. At the time, the inflation wasn't that bad as it is right now.
Oh yeah.
I can't imagine anyone surviving on such salary at this time.
Wow. You talked about you having 5 degrees all to yourself. This is part of the things we do. And the reason why we do this is because, we use your life as a person to encourage people that are upcoming. And some people that are even here, even ahead of you, that have not even attained the height you've attained in life, by the time you read out your real bio to them, they will be like, wow. So if this man at this age and time can do this, I can do it as well. Let me sit up and get something done. Can you please read out? We need to know. What are the, please tell us those degrees.
Well, like I said, I have a degree in electrical engineering.
All right.
I have a diploma in there's this network course I did at Humber College. I have that one. I have a advanced diploma in computer engineering and technology. I have masters in artificial intelligence. Masters in information technology security with artificial intelligence. Then I have a diploma in immigration consulting.
And all of them you garnered together here in Canada?
Except for the electrical engineering background, degree in Nigeria.
Nigeria.
Every
okay.
other one I did in Canada.
Oh wow, that's a good one. You've done well for yourself, and we appreciate you for the kind of person you are. Very gentle and ready to help. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Now we're going to go back to the case study, which is immigration. There is one thing that is flying around in Nigeria right now that has to do with work permit. And I think it is quite important you shed light to this, because agents back home in Nigeria now, the moment they are filling up forms for their clients for visiting visa, they tell them the moment you run into Pearson Airport, they're going to be handing you a work permit. Please, I need you to shed light to that. Is that how it works? Do you get automatic work permit because you've been given a visitor visa?
No, that's not true.
Okay.
That's not true.
All right.
A lot of people call me every day for that purpose.
Yeah.
Please, I want to convert my visitor visa to work permit. I start asking them, do you have your IELTS done? No. Do you have this? No. How old are you? No. Okay, sorry. It's not automatic.
Yeah.
It's not automatic. And again, it's these agents, so-called agents in Nigeria, that mislead these people.
Yeah.
Right? They don't know the background, that is required to get this thing done. Yes, it's possible. Yeah. But you need to have the criteria.
The criteria. It has. Yeah. Yes.
And then when you tell them they don't want to do it, they start, is there something we can do? No, the requirement is a requirement.
And like I said, because I have encountered a lot of them too, so that's why I have I have what it takes now to ask you those questions. Like, some of them says to you, the agent told me the moment I get to Canada, I will get a job, I will get my work permit overturned. I mean, I will get my visitor permit turned around to become a work permit. Like you said, it is not possible. What are the criteria? Could you please shed light on that so our people will get to know, especially as it's got to do with LMIA, as it's got to do with other areas of the immigration requirement to transit from visitor to work permit?
Okay. The chief of the requirements, among other things, is the job offer.
Okay.
You need a labor market impact assessment job offer. It's called LMIA. We call it different names. Call it IMIA, labor market and all of that. You need to have a job offer that shows that job is not meant for a Canadian, or no Canadian is ready to get that job. And because no Canadian is ready to job or is not qualified for the job, then the employer can give it
to the foreign national.
And again, it is the employer that is supposed to pay all fees for the what's it called? For the employee, yeah. Pay the LMIA fee. In fact, the employer is supposed to pay the ticket fee of the client, of the employee to Canada.
Yes, and he has the employer automatically will have a lawyer that is paying that would run all of that, because the employer himself cannot handle it, right?
Yes. So because there are some things you need to send to ESDC. Employment and Social, I can't remember, Development of Canada.
Canada, yes, that's what it is.
They assess that the job is genuine.
Yeah.
They assess that the company or the employer will be able to pay the employee. They assess that the employer is not even cheating the employee. Right? So that not because you're coming from a foreign, because you're a foreigner, I'll pay you lesser than what I'm supposed to pay Canadian. So all of these things are regulated.
Okay.
So yes, an employer, if you're a learner, is something you can do yourself, right? But if you don't want to mess things up, you should employ someone that is knowledgeable about it.
Yes.
Right. Get an immigration consultant, get an immigration lawyer to handle all the background work for you.
Okay. Thank you so much. How long does it take, going by your own experience? Because with my own experience, I understand the fact that the timing for the LMIA process, the first thing that has to happen is advertising the job, right?
That's correct.
Getting the right candidate for the job, interviewing the candidate, and after all, I need you to explain that because you're the one giving us the lecture now.
Okay, so to satisfy the requirement that a Canadian, you're not giving the candidate Canadian, you must first advertise the job for at least 30 days.
Okay.
That's the employer.
Yes.
There's a specific portal that you have to advertise the job. You can advertise elsewhere. You need to show all those proof to ESDC that, see, I advertise the job. And this is a number of people that applied for the job, right? And this is the reason why this person doesn't qualify. Let's say 5 people already apply for the job, and you interview them. You do a summary. Okay, I've interviewed this person. This person did not have this qualification, or I don't think he can do this job. Right. As a result, I can't find anyone in Canada that can do it.
Okay.
And then the ESDC will now process the LMIA. I don't like giving timeline because Canada is kind of notorious for not following timeline. It's just recent times now that they are picking up the slack. If you say something is 1 month, 1 month may come and you don't get it.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Because they've got a lot of backlog, especially since the COVID-19 thing. A lot of backlog.
But they're doing a good job now, trying to
meet up.
To meet up, yeah.
Okay.
They're doing things are coming to normal processing times now.
Okay. So now on student visa, going back to student visa, what are the success rates for, and what are the requirements that would, let's say, tentatively make it a success for somebody who is applying for a student visa?
Funds.
Okay.
Funds, chiefly, and ties to. It's the same thing all over the world. You need to satisfy to an officer that when you finish your studies, you would go back to your country. Because although there is a path to PR and citizenship for students, but then what if government changes their mind tomorrow? You must be able to go. The chief reason why you are applying to come to school in Canada is so that you can go and apply the knowledge, international knowledge, in your country, right? In as much as we will still, student will come, get the postgraduate work permit, apply for permanent residence, become citizen later, right? But you need to first show. And how do you establish that? You need to establish that you have something that will take you back to Nigeria, right? And you can articulate all of that in your statement of purpose, what you intend to do with the knowledge, right? You can articulate all of that there, so that the officer can have a summary of, an insight into what you're thinking. And 2, to study in Canada, depending on the province, other than the tuition, you need living expense. Okay. I don't think people really factor that in. For Ontario, I think the living expense is about 14,400. Other provinces used to be 10,000. I don't know if it's changed now, but I just budget about 14,400 for the living expense. Right? You need to add that on top of what the tuition is.
Okay. Right? For 1 year, right?
For 1 year. That's a 1 year cost. You need to satisfy to an officer that you have the living expense plus the tuition. Your bank account, the source of income, your proof of income must show that 1 year. You don't have to show it for the entire. Let's say you come in for.
So, for instance, if your cost costs you $15,000, you have to show proof of funds for 15 plus 14.5 in Ontario.
On Ontario, 14,400.
Yeah.
So, and then, not everybody has the money. Okay. But they can get a sponsor. Okay. If I want to sponsor you, you're not my child, right? I have my own children to take care of. You don't expect that I have 40,000 and I'm going to spend $30,000 sending you to school. Yeah. So they would expect that the sponsor too will have something kept for his
a lot more in reserve to take care of his family.
Yeah. Because some clients come, oh, my uncle will sponsor me, and then by the time the uncle gives me the bank statement, I'm like, this money is barely enough for you. You let alone someone else. And we talked about the ties. We talked about
the funding.
The funding.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Another thing that the officer can consider is how close is your sponsor to you.
Okay.
How close is your sponsor to you?
Yes.
If your parents are sponsoring you, fine.
Yeah.
I can spend my life.
If your spouse is sponsoring you, fine. But if you are married and you're going to borrow a sponsor, it will
throw some red flag.
Red flag. Okay, how
what's
come
your
you
husband
doing that he cannot sponsor you?
Do you understand?
Yeah.
In such cases, it would help if the husband can also support the application with an affidavit or letter saying, "Oh well, I'm aware that somebody else is sponsoring my wife. You know, we've talked about it. It's a known idea to us, and it doesn't have any reservation about someone else sponsoring the wife. It could be the wife's parents sponsoring the wife. You know.
That singular letter can go a long way, because some people look away from affidavit that needs to be done to back up their application. But that singular suggestion you just made now could go a long way to sway the mind of the officer into giving them the required yes or no.
Yeah, don't forget, the officers too are human beings.
Yeah.
You can write a letter to them.
Yeah.
They read and understand. But if you don't provide those things,
Yes.
they cannot make assumption for you. It's there in the bulletin. Don't make assumption for any application. Only assess the application based on what you have in front of you. Don't think, okay, this person must be able to do this if it's not explicitly right in front of you.
No, yeah. Oh, right. Thank you so much, Mr. Biodun. Now, there's a question that comes to my mind that I need to ask you, and it's part of the things that were prepared for this episode. The postgraduate work permit that is being that students merit after their 1 or 2 years after school. Now, there are schools that are not licensed to give out that postgraduate work permit. Yet they go on and absorb international students. At the end of the program, maybe 1 year after the end of the program, the student is lying about on the street. He cannot even do anything to maybe assist himself until they start struggling to get another school to pay, or they need to go back to their country. What would you say to that, please?
Okay, I would say someone that wants to have international education should have a sort of basic education, right, to do research for themselves.
Okay.
Right? People call me and say, "Oh, they didn't tell me the school cannot give postgraduate
permit." Yeah.
What stops you from finding out online?
Yeah.
You can research online, right? And again, the purpose of study permit is not for you to come and stay in Canada.
I know.
So officers will grant the application because
you have
whether postgraduate or not,
yeah,
you have satisfied to the officer that you will go back
to your country. Yes. So right. So the study permit they gave to you for the initial arrival is just for you to serve you for the purpose of the study.
Yeah, go study.
Go back to your country. So if your school could not support you for the postgraduate work permit, it's because of your negligence in doing the right thing, making your research, isn't it?
That's correct.
Oh wow, that's great. So we're going to be going on another short break, and we'll be back in the next 1 minute.
.2% is the highest percent yield on savings, particularly in Nigeria. Now, do you know that if you save 1 million naira in your bank account for a year, your total paid interest will be around 42,000 naira only? Yes, you can do the maths. What if I told you there is a better way you can save money and then earn up to 50% ROI in 12 months? Would you take advantage of this opportunity? I am Kasmi Okedenachi. If you give me the next 90 seconds of your time, you'll become richer and wealthier. I am a real estate broker, property developer, and investment advisor. At Kasmi Casmer Retail, we specialize in helping people increase their net worth as we guide them to invest in only profitable real estate portfolio. We have created a reliable and more profitable real estate investment plan that beats any annual percent yield APY that your bank can offer. With our real estate buyback plan, you can earn up to 25%, 40% and 50% in 6 months, 10 months and 12 months respectively. You ask me, how does this work? It's pretty simple. All you have to do is to buy into one of our buyback designated estates with as little as 1 million naira per plot, and then you can resell back to us in 6 months at 1.25 million naira, or resell back to us in 10 months at 1.4 million naira per plot, or resell back to us in 12 months at 1.5 million naira per plot. To ensure the reliability of your investment, you will be issued a deed of buyback, a contract of sales, a receipt of payments, an acknowledgement letter, post-dated checks, and of course, details of the buyback land. This buyback plan is very reliable and profitable. When you invest in our buyback plan, you are investing in a very tangible real estate asset. Your ROI is guaranteed, and you can buy into as many plots of land as possible. The possibilities are endless. To get started, all you have to do is to call my number on the screen, which is 081-865-78916. I'll be more than willing to provide you with all the information that you need and answer all your questions. You can follow us on all social media platforms at Casmer Realty, or subscribe to our YouTube channel. You don't have to miss this opportunity. The best time to build your wealth is now. I look forward to hearing from you. Bye.
Welcome back, our viewers at home, for the concluding part of today's episode of Naija Mouthpiece. Like I said earlier on, Duke Immigration is handling today's episode, and they've been doing us a real good. One thing again that I need to say is this: Naija Mouthpiece has come to stay, and all we care about is the way to give vital information to fellow Nigerians out there by speaking to people that have gone through, people with experience, people that are knowledgeable, people that are doing pretty good in their chosen endeavor. And today we are with one of those class of persons, and that is why we have Mr. Abiodun on set today again. Thank you so much, Mr. Abiodun Ojo. Again, I'm going to be coming back to you and asking you this question: how do you stay up to date on changes in immigration law and procedure?
Simple. You have to study, subscribe to newsletters, and belong to organizations that share information. But you have to study. A lot changes. You have to make sure you are abreast of it by always studying. Like I said, I listen to podcasts, educational podcasts when I'm driving, and I'm always attentive to my emails. I can read it on my watch, on the go, just to have an idea when something comes in, right? If it's something that catches my interest, I make sure I read it right then, or I can pack it for later.
Okay. You know, the reason why I asked you this question is because you are a man of many parts. You're into IT, you're into immigration. So it's going to be quite challenging, I mean, going on both discipline. So that's why I asked you. So we are on the same page, because I know it's not going to be easy for you. Like, you're getting an update from immigration, you're having another office to attend to that has to do with IT challenges. So that's why I said, how do you really go about both without one suffering over the other?
Yes. So as a project manager,
Okay.
right, I have honed my skills to learn how to manage my time.
Okay.
Right? Time management, people management, resource management are the key skills you must have as a project manager. And I believe I've improved on those skills over the years. I've been a project manager for about 13 years now. So it's something you've been doing for 13 years. You should be able to master it,
yes,
right? And then apply it in other areas of your life, right? IT is, I love IT. I've always wanted to know more. I'm a self-taught programmer. I learned programming by myself. I remember then I was in uni 200 level. I think I was the only one that I even had a laptop in school,
Wow.
in my class, because I really wanted it. And I told my father, please buy me a laptop. He was like, that's money to buy a car. So I asked one of my cousins abroad, then he got it for me, and that changed my life. I was able to learn. I'm an introvert. I'm sure you know that, right? I don't like going out. I learned to I just like to stay indoors and study and what's the next thing? What's the next big thing? Okay, something comes up, I want to know about it, so that when we have a conversation, right, I will be able to give you good information without misleading you, right? Because I know that a lot of people they just say what they think is right without really researching if that is the right thing, right? I've been in situations where people say stuff about, you cannot spend more than 6 months in outside of Canada as a permanent resident. I'm like, no, there's no provision for that. There's nothing like that. They're like, no, you can't spend more than 6 months outside of Canada. I'm like, there is no possible. There's something.
So long as you're here 3 years out of the 5 years, cumulative. No, it's not compulsory that it has to be the same 3 years. Cumulatively, maybe 6 months today, 3 months tomorrow. So long as you're in Canada.
A lot of people don't think, you can't spend more than 6 months outside of Canada. Like, no, that's not true. That's not true. But because that's so widespread, they believe it, right? So, that IT is my passion. I love it. I love automation. I automate almost everything.
Oh wow!
Everything in my house is automated. I do those things by myself. Then I came into immigration because I wanted to change the narrative. Right?
I was going to get to that.
Yeah. Well, I saw how people were being treated. I saw how people's cases were being handled with negligence.
So to say, your immigration call was more like a call to passion. When the way you felt for people, was what made you get into immigration practice.
Correct. That's correct.
No, right. Okay, that's great. Now, before I ask you about how you unwind, there's this announcement that was made about, I think, May this year, that the Minister of Immigration, before he was changed, Sean Fraser, made concerning families that has their maybe a spouse here that has their family back home, and they already got accepted into the system. Some are on work permit, and they want their family to join them ahead of the final decision on their permanent residency or before. So like a month now, I realized that some people are beginning to come in with that. So can you please talk to our people about that?
Yes. So if you have, it's not all types of permanent residence applications.
Oh, okay then.
Right.
Yep.
If you have the eligible ones, right, and then your application, the application to bring that person in, has received the acknowledgement that they've received. They started processing the application, right? Meaning they've given it the application number.
Okay.
Then you can, the spouse of such person, or that the principal applicant now, can come apply for work permit to come to Canada.
Okay.
Because eventually, they are still going to come to. Like the minister said, a high percentage of people that apply get to Canada as permanent. So why keep them so long?
Away from their family.
Yeah, let them come and meet their family.
While they wait.
Yeah. Now, a lot of people misconstrue that.
Okay.
And they did not meet the criteria. They started applying for their families.
Okay.
Right? And I tell them, this is not going to fly. Until
once there is an acknowledgement from immigration stating that your application is in process for your family back home, that's when you're entitled to go on for the application.
Yeah.
Right?
And also, not all sponsorship class, there's different classes you can sponsor, right? There's family sponsor, there's the refugee sponsor, right? So I don't see, okay, let me say it this way. Let's say you are here now on a study, then you got your postgraduate work permit, and then you're applying for permanent residence, and then you've included your spouse in Nigeria in your permanent residence application, right?
Yes.
once the application has received that stage of they've received it, you have that G number, or the
F number.
Or the F number is for the family sponsorship.
Yes.
Then you can, the Spousal Nigeria can apply for visitor or work
permit. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you so much for this insight. Before we let you go, I know you're trying to shy away from this, but you cannot, because I know you as a traveler. You move all you move all over the world. Tell us how do you unwind? How aside reading your book, aside listening to podcasts when you're driving, what other way do you unwind?
Well, daily I make sure I watch at least one episode of a sitcom.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It helps me to relax after a day. And I get so busy that I feel like I need vacations every 4 months or every 3 months. I do travel a lot. I try to go away from the hustle of Canada, just stay, be with my family somewhere, and I think that's the major way I unwind. After my head is always full. My phone rings off the hook. People call me like several times, and I can't really service them all. And it gets to the point I'm like, you know what? I think I need a break, so I'll just buy a ticket and go.
Thank you so much, Abiodun Alagbon Ojo, for your time. You've really done justice to most of the questions that is bothering Nigerians and other people out there in the world, as it has to do with migrating to Canada. Now we would want you to leave your parting speech for our viewers at home, and whatever you're going to say right now, please let it be built on immigration, because they are all, especially this jackpot season, a lot of people want to run away, even if things are going to be better tomorrow, but people want a breath of fresh air. So that's why you see even Nigerians that are wealthy, a lot of them want to move. It's not because they don't have money to feed their family, but security of life and property is even the paramount. So what would you want to say to our people out there concerning the immigration?
Well, on a final note, I would say, as you're considering to leave your country to come to Canada, make sure that is a good move, right? Because in as much as people say, oh, Canada is good, some people have bad experiences as well, right? I've seen YouTube videos of how some people say they were going to move back to their country, right? Maybe they didn't do their due diligence. So I would say, do your due diligence before you leave the shores of the country. People say, oh, they sold all their property and then they come here and they don't have anything to show for it. I would say, do your homework properly. Make sure that coming to Canada is the right move for you. And before you entrust your application to send any person on the street, make sure that that person is credible. That person will act in your best interest. It's not just looking to make money off you. That person really wants you to succeed. And then all your information is your right. Make sure that you get them. Okay, make sure that you get all of your information. You might need it. You in fact, not might. You will surely need it when you eventually come to Canada.
Thank you so much. Before you give your parting speech finally, which already you've given part of it, there is something that came up over the week. Someone was denied in the US, and when he was filling up his application for Canada, he omitted that part. And Canada, being who they are, shares intelligence with the US, both immigration and every security otherwise. So they were able to spot the fact that he intentionally did, and he was so lucky that they didn't ban him. So what do you advise the person to do as he's going to resubmit his application?
I would say address that concern, because people don't read as much as they should.
Yeah.
That particular question says, have you been refused, in Canada
and
any
other
other
country.
But people don't read that any other country.
Yeah.
They limit the scope of that question to just Canada.
Canada, yeah.
And in their mind, they are being truthful. They said no, because they've not been refusing Canada.
Canada, yes.
Forgetting that any other country could even be Ghana.
Exactly.
Could even be Mauritius.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
You have to be truthful on all of your applications, right? Saying because you've been refused in the US does not mean Canada will refuse you.
Yes.
No, it shouldn't have a bearing on your application.
Exactly.
We just have to be truthful.
Exactly.
And in the case of such person, I would say reapply, address the consent, maybe use a counsel to write in the submission for you.
Yes.
That can go a long way. In most cases, they usually grant them, as long as it's not banned.
Yeah,
right.
It wasn't banned.
Yeah, they will grant
him. Okay, thank you so much. On the final notes,
Jamal, please, I see what you're doing. You do a very good job trying to articulate all these questions on behalf of Nigerians, and I know through your viewership you would also reach more Nigerians, and I think you guys are doing a very good job, and I appreciate it, and thank you very much for all that you do for the community.
Thank you so much, Abiodun Alagbonwojo, the MD CEO, Duke Immigration. Please, we viewers at home, you've all heard from the horse's mouth. I consider him that because he has done justice to most of the things that were put before him today. And we look forward to having you again on Naija Mouthpiece.